Oh, wait. Um, we're just going to wait for a few of our participants and guests to come in. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Philippines. Good morning, Japan, and to the rest of the world. Can we all greet everyone? Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good morning. Yep.
So we are now being viewed by many educators and students from across the world to witness this very significant and very important project presentations of our students of the Sustainable Development Goals projects that they have made in the couple of months. We started this collaboration between St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, and Meiwa High School in Nagoya, Japan. We started in October, and time flies so fast, and now it is February, and we are now ready to be able to present to everyone the project presentations of the different teams. We actually have 5 teams. So they're going to present it, and after each presentation, we'll be hearing, comments, suggestions, and feedbacks coming from our special guests. So to our special guests later on, feel free to raise your hand, or our guests, you can ask questions in the chat box, so as I may be able to read the questions of your questions for our students. And so, without further ado, let us now begin our program. Let me just share my slide.
name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of good health and peace that we have enjoyed for so many years. As we find ourselves in this time of crisis today, we ask for your divine intervention and mercy to be upon each of us. Come and guide the minds of those working to discover a treatment to the COVID-19 virus. Grant them wisdom, knowledge, and clarity of mind, so that all peoples will be free from the threat of this ailment. We also pray for the healthcare workers that are standing in the front line of this battle. Father, we thank you for their hearts of service, putting the needs of society before their own, generously responding to the cry of your people. We ask that you will grant them strength and protection as they give of themselves in selfless service. May you fill them with your Holy Spirit as they work to be your healing hands and feet. Father, we also surrender to you all those who have been afflicted with the virus. Grant them your healing grace, merciful Father, so that they may recover swiftly and continue to be witnesses of your love in their lives. Mother Mary, we ask for your intercession in this great time of need. Cover each of us with your blue mantle of protection, so that we may be preserved in good health to continue to glorify your Son, Jesus Christ. We make this prayer through Christ, our Savior and Redeemer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Bayang maghihirap, perlas ng silangan, nalalab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay, lupang hinilang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bukang, may dilag ang tula, at awit sa paglayat minamahal, ang islap ng watawa, may tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin na araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw, ng buwan at ipagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, aking ligaya na pag-ay makapit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay, so good morning again to everyone. To begin our program, let me call in the president of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippine, to give her welcoming remarks. I'd like to call the president of St. Patrick's School, Mrs. Sari E. Cruz, to render her opening remarks. Ma'am Sari.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Dr. Dari. A pleasant morning to our students, faculty, administrators of St. Patrick's School, Philippines, and Meiwa High School, Japan. We'd also like to welcome our friends and special guests all over the world. I saw earlier that we have friends from different countries, and we'd like to welcome all of you. A very pleasant morning. It is a beautiful Saturday, a hot Saturday morning in the Philippines right now. We are 32 degrees over here. And I was checking the weather in Japan. And it looks like it's going to be sunny, but very cool at 9 degrees. I'm not sure if that is accurate. I just checked the weather in Japan. So it's a cooler day, but I hope just as beautiful as it is here in the Philippines. You know, I'm very happy to and honored to have been invited to this event. This is a once in a lifetime event. It's the first one again that another milestone in our school's history. You know, St. Patrick's School will be celebrating our 54th Foundation Day in March. We will be 54 years old, and we have gone through so much, many challenges, especially in the pandemic. We have gone through also many successes as well. Changes, movements, people have come and gone, but we continue to be here mainly because of three things. First, the grace of our God and the guidance of our patron, St. Patrick. Of course, also the men and women who have continued to provide quality education to our children, particularly led by our academic director, Dr. Dahanay, and we thank him for organizing these events for SPS. And of course, mainly we are here because of our students, for the love and our mission to provide that education to our students, I know, which is also shared by our very wonderful partner, Meiwa High School. And today I'm very excited to see the presentations of our students and our faculty. I know they have prepared long and hard for this, and we are all excited to see the very practical and very informative projects, and we hope to be able to support them even more in the next months. So today again, I welcome all of you to this wonderful event, and I hope that we will all enjoy and learn from the presentations today, and I look forward to an even longer and better partnership with all of our partner schools all over the world, especially in Japan. So with that, may I say, arigato gozaimasu, and maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sari E. Cruz, the president of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, for her welcoming remarks. Now I'd like to call teacher Yoko Fujisawa to render the welcoming remarks in behalf of Meiwa High School in Japan.
So, Dr. Dari, Mr. Matsubara.
I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Would like to call Mr. Matsubara, the vice principal of Meiwa High School, to welcome all of us in behalf of Meiwa High School, Japan. Mr. Matsubara?
Thank you, Dr. Dari. Over the past few months, students from Meiwa High School and St. Patrick's School have been working collaboratively to advance their research. At last, the day of the presentation has come. I'm so excited. Of course, I think the results of your research are wonderful, but the results of the exchange are even better. This wonderful exchange between Filipino and Japanese high school students will surely become a treasure for the world in the future. Today, let's fully enjoy the presentation and the exchange. Teachers at St. Patrick's School, hello. Our students had a great experience. I appreciate your effort to guide the students. Thank you from the heart. I hope that the exchange between the two schools will continue for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Principal Mr. Matsubara, for the welcoming, at the same time opening remarks in behalf of Meiwa High School in Japan. Thank you very much. So as you all know, we are currently having the start of the presentation. It's called the Collaborative Online International Learning Program. It's such an exciting way to be able to see everyone, that we live in a global world, and no matter, what career you choose, it will involve some form of collaboration, amongst different people from across the world. And without further ado, we will now start the presentation, and I'd like to call our team number one, headed by teacher John Daryl Casha from the Philippines. Teacher John Daryl Casha, it's now your turn. It's now. So kindly please share already your presentations. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Mr. John Daryl Casha, the teacher facilitator of group number 1. We are going to discuss about the Sustainable Development Goal number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, with our project title, Optimal Disaster Plan. We had now like to recognize and thank the people who work on the project. From St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Shane Daniel San Luis, Maxine Elise Mangahas, and Christian David Garcia. From Meiwa Super Science High School in Nagoya, Japan, Yoko Yanase, Maika Miyamoto, Haina Hayashi, and Hajime Kosaki.
Good day to all of you. We are the Group 1 and our SDG is SDG number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. The goal of the SDG number 11 is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Next slide, please. Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, building resilient societies and economies. It also involves investment in public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in participatory and inclusive ways.
Our project title is Optimal Disaster Plan. Next. Our project background. The situation in the Philippines. Back, please. General overview. The basis of our project was to lessen or prevent the impact of natural disaster in our cities and communities, inclined with our target SDG. We can't expect when disaster happens, so we thought that we had to split the way to protect ourselves. Next, please. The situation in the Philippines and Japan. Philippines and Japan are countries prone to natural disasters. For example, earthquake, tsunami, and typhoon. Target inclined. Implement policies for inclusion, resource efficiency, and disaster risk reduction. Reduce the adverse effect of natural disasters.
I will talk about concept and objective of our project. Our project concept is to deepen our knowledge about our school situations and what we have to do to reduce the adverse effects of natural disasters. So we did some action. First, we conducted earthquake drill. It is important to avoid panic when an earthquake actually occurs, and in schools, earthquake drills are necessary so that teachers, admins, and school staffs can give appropriate instructions. Next, please. Second, we made posters. These figures to reduce or avoid potential losses from hazards and to provide prompt and proper assistance to disaster victims. So we decided to provide students with a visual representation. Next, please. Third, we examine the facilities of the school. We use scientific data to find out how safe our school is, because we thought it helped to ensure that corrective actions are taken appropriately. Next, please. Finally, we conducted interviews with experts because it would help to obtain additional information about the knowledge of the interview and also to help us explain and better understand the opinions and experience of the interview. Next is about our project methods. First is methods of earthquake drills. We took different methods about it between St. Patrick's School and Meiwa High School. In St. Patrick's School, we prepared a request letter on our admins. After approved, we held an orientation via Zoom meeting. We executed the drill for all of the St. Patrick's School employees to participate in and gathered feedbacks using Google Forms on the implementation of our action and to improve its effectiveness. In Meiwa High School, we asked the teacher about the details. After that, we determined the school facilities and found dangerous points in our school. And we made and submitted a request form for improvement to our school. These are methods of earthquake drills. Next is about infographics. Next, please. We created infographics based on the disasters that we want to focus on. Then we posted online and we gathered feedbacks in the same way that we did about earthquake drills. And the last one is about examining school facilities. We asked our school teachers about details of school facilities. Then we received some data and found what countermeasures are being taken now. So we made and submitted a request form to our school. So those are our project methods.
These are the related photos of our project. On the left side of the screen are the infographics made by the students of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, and on the right side of the screen is the execution of evacuation drill performed by the students of Meiwa High School. Next slide, please. For this slide, these are the infographics and Instagram account made by the students of Meiwa High School. Next slide, please. Since the buildings and lockers in Meiwa High School are very old and dangerous, they pointed out how very old every building in their school is. So now, for the related videos, you can watch them on the Facebook page of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So for the results of our action, we gathered data from the respondents, from 30 respondents, according to their satisfactory level of our implemented projects, the poster, and the earthquake drill. So for the table 1, it shows the scale of the satisfactory level of the respondents. Next slide, please. For the table number 2, on the right side, It shows the result of the satisfactory level of the respondents towards the disaster preparedness infographic. So we computed the mean of the means and we got a total mean of 4.79 with a verbal interpretation of very satisfied. And for the table number 3, it shows the result of the satisfactory level of the respondents towards the earthquake drill simulation. And we computed the mean of the mean. We got a total mean of 4.81 with a verbal interpretation of very satisfied. So for the result of examining the facilities, we examined our buildings and facilities and we found out that some of the buildings were very old and dangerous, and there are also some dangerous points like unfixed lockers and shelves, corridors, and stairs. So we asked the school to fix it since these are evacuation routes. We also interviewed Mr. Eliezer Pica, an instructor of disaster readiness and reduction at La Immaculada Conception School. So to summarize the interview, they said that they also do trainings like drills and posting informative posters, and we must know the proper procedures in addressing an earthquake, fire, and flood. They also said that we should take appropriate precautions to minimize damages. Next, please. Next. Next. So we also gathered comments from students asking these questions like, what is your anxiety? What can you do in advance? And back, last slide.
About the discussion. For the evacuation of infographics and for the evacuation drill, the satisfactory level of the respondents were very satisfied. Next. We did emergency drill to reconfirm the danger of the earthquakes and asked the students for their opinion to improve it. This project was good opportunity to spread the knowledge of everyone, including us, so it was very successful.
We can do different things to achieve our SDGs, such as raising the awareness of disaster prevention, discussing what we have to do, and continuing to discuss long-term measures. Our proposal is to create an emergency kit that will be of use to school next year. We created a letter of our request to our admins. This is used to ensure the safety and survival of the person using it and to help you handle an emergency at a moment's notice. With these basic supplies, you are better prepared to help others and yourself when disaster occurs. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, team number 1. And they presented the SDG number 11, which is Sustainable Cities and Communities. We are now formally opening questions from our guests and from our audience. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask our presenters. They're given roughly around 5 minutes to answer the questions. I guess let me start. I received one question coming from one of our guests, and the question is, the Philippines and Japan is in the Pacific Ring of Fire, meaning both countries are prone to natural disasters. The question is, despite efforts of the government of both countries and the private citizens, why is it that there are still people dying of natural disasters? Anyone from the team who would like to answer that question? I think, yeah, let's start first with Shane. Shane, can you answer?
Yes, sir. So as you've said, Japan and Philippines are located at the Pacific Ring of Fire, which are prone to disasters. So natural disasters are uncontrollable, so we can't expect when and where will it happen. So what can we do to reduce it um, is to obey rules and is to obey rules and do appropriate precautions.
Thank you very much. Proper precautions, no? Despite the help coming from the government and private citizens. Yeah, there are still people who's going to die. Thank you very much. Any questions coming from our audience who would like to ask questions to team number 1? There's another question coming from one of the student, and it says, in doing your collaboration, what were the difficulties or the challenges that you were able to have experienced? Anyone from the team? Shane?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go
So the
ahead.
difficulties that we've encountered when conducting this project was, so for the Philippine St. Patrick's School students, when we conducted the earthquake drill, we had a hard time doing it because we still haven't have face-to-face classes, so we didn't personally did the drill at the school. And there are only teachers and employees at the school, so there are no students. So, but overall, it was still successful. So, yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Haina raised her hand. Haina, go ahead.
Yes, I think it was difficult to consider how to raise the awareness of students and teachers because in Meiwa High School we have evacuation drills each year, so it means we have some awareness, but we think it is not enough. So I think it is difficult to change it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one, question coming from one of our guests, Noemi Para from Mexico.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations, guys, to both schools. Great job. And second of all, I would like to ask you, what did you learn beyond what you researched? I mean, regarding how you felt doing this collaboration with another country, what else did you learn from this collaboration? Thank you.
Okay, anyone from team number 1 who would like to answer? Team number 1? Don't worry, our guests will not bite you. So
feel relaxed. So what do you do?
I won't, believe me, I won't. Somebody from Japan, because I believe Shane from St. Patrick's School has answered the previous questions.
Yeah.
So maybe one student from Japan.
Yeah.
Maybe Hajime. Hajime, would you want to?
Hajime, you can. Yeah. What did you learn from this collaboration?
I think I should do. If we can't, but I should do.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Well, did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think that's the best part. And they did.
Yeah. See, no harm. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you have presented your dissertation. No? I think there's another question from Kohi Nakashima?
Hey. It's following my curiosity. I just checking how often the Philippines school conduct the evacuation drill in a year. So, and also my advice is for your guys' presentation because as a Microsoft innovative educator, so how to make the more informative slide. So just less text and also more picture would be fantastic. Okay. So how often you guys conduct the evacuation drill?
Okay, let's ask one from St. Patrick's School. How often does the school do evacuation drills? Anyone from the team? Normally, normally in St. Patrick's School. Okay, Shane. Shane, go ahead.
Thanks, Shane.
We're doing earthquake drill and fire drill every year.
Once in a year?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Normally they do it once a year because it's also a requirement by the government.
Oh, mandatory.
Yeah, the government and even the Department of Education and even the accreditors of the schools, they normally are requiring it.
So without notice for the students? Or you guys?
Yes, there are announced and unannounced drills, so as they'll be able to check before they'll be able to give the certificates for clearance.
That's good. Thanks.
So how about you, Yoko? How about in Japan? In Meiwa? How often do we have evacuation drill?
We do evacuation drill each year, once a year.
You also do once a year, no? Once a year.
Yes.
Almost the same also with the Philippines.
Dari?
Yeah, go ahead, Sari.
Yes. I just wanted to add to the question of Sir that the only problem now in the Philippines is that we still do not have face-to-face. So our students are not in school yet. So in the last 2 years, wherein we do not have the students in school, that's why I'm very happy that the Meiwa students are already in the campus. But for us, we're very sad in the campus. We don't have our students yet with us, and we're unable to let them join our drills. But once we go back to the face-to-face platform, definitely we will continue. We have actually a fire month, which is March. This is Fire Prevention Month, and that's when we also do some of our drills, usually every March of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sari. I think we have another question from Winnie. Winnie from I think Taiwan, right, Winnie?
Yes, definitely. I think this is the topic is so important because as Taiwan also in the Pacific Ring. Yeah, and also I like the whole presentation and the topic, the methodology is well organized and presented. I especially like that the students, they did a survey and also come up some observation in the building of a school. And most important, they come up with a solution. Personally, I'm quite interested about the solution that they suggest that we will prepare a survival kit, right? So I wonder that because in my country, we also have an earthquake drill every year. So they just ask us to prepare the survival kit. So I just wonder that what's your expectation, how to implement this survival kit? For example, you want everyone to get one or how to implement in the future in your idea. I mean, just talk, just like Naomi said, fun to talk about how are you going to implement the survival kit, because I think that requires some like many finance or something.
That's a good question.
So I just wondered that anyone, you just said about how are you going to do that?
We'll ask team number one. How will you be able to do the survival kit? Will it be distributed? What's your idea on that? Anyone from team number one? Okay, Micah. Go ahead, Micah.
I think we should have emergency kit each person, including like clothes, water, or something. Yeah, I think clothes, inner clothes, is very important to for us because if we have to stay some days, we should change our clothes. So the clothes is the most important thing to have.
Thank you, Micah. I think Shane, you raised your hand.
Yes, like Micah said, we must each student and employees have survival kits like including flashlight, whistle, any survival equipments to when and hard hat like that. And we will propose our request letter so the school will conduct it next school year.
All right, thank you very much. So I guess all students will be required or be given the kits before the start of their schooling. And that's very good, very noble. Thank you very much.
Dr. Dari, Hajime is raising hand.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
I want to answer the previous question.
Go ahead, Hajime.
I want to answer the previous question. What I felt. Making action is more important than thinking. I felt this project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, action is it's even more better. You know, thank you very much. I think we'll have to cut the other questions because we still have four teams to present. A round of applause to team number 1. Okay, thank you very much. And now we proceed with the second group. The second group is headed by Teacher John Aldrin Cabello from the Philippines. Teacher John, go ahead.
So good morning, everyone. So we are Team 2 for this collaboration between St. Patrick's School of Quezon City and Meiwa Super Science High School in Japan. So my group would be presenting about SDG number 12, and their paper is entitled Road to Sustainability. And to introduce my members, we have Clarence Lacanlale, Angeline Can, and their leader, Joshua Catanyo, as the representative of the Philippines. While in Meiwa High School, we have Kairi Ohashi, Yoshino Ikagawa, and Chisa as their group leader. So I would like to give the virtual spotlight to my group for them to present.
Hello, good day to all of you. We are Team 2, and today we would be talking a lot about our project, which is entitled Road to Sustainability. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Next slide, please. So, first off, we have the background of the study, or simply the background. As stated in the PowerPoint, one of the most common problems that the world faces is waste and the lack of waste management. Our Sustainable Development Goal is titled Responsible Consumption and Production, which is mainly about, as the title suggests, is being a responsible consumer. In this discussion, we will discuss the actions taken by this team in order to promote the Sustainable Development Goal. Next slide, please. So, that being said, here are our objectives. First off, to disseminate information about responsible consumption. Then, to implement a program that will allow the school communities to lessen its ecological footprint. And lastly, to lessen waste through researching possible materials to recycle. And now, I would like to call on my colleague, Mr. Joshua Catanyo, in order to explain some of the technicalities of our methodologies.
Hi, hello everyone. So first of all, introduction. So St. Patrick's School of Quezon City sent out survey forms using Google Forms, specifically to the junior and senior high school students of the school itself. Meanwhile, Meiwa also held the survey, but they used the social media platform called Instagram to deliver the questions. And those surveys hold questions, and the answer to those questions that are based on the respondents will be discussed shortly. Next page, please. So the method. These are the methods that the team 2 use in order to gather data. So first of all is the survey. Second is intervention. And third is experimentation. So for the survey, so we asked them 12 questions because Sustainable Development Goal 12. So we have 12 questions. And these are the questions. And here are the responses. So for question number 1 to 3 can be summarized as talks about knowledge of students regarding sustainable development goals. And these are the combined data of both schools, Meiwa and St. Patrick. So first question is if they ever heard of the term sustainability, and a majority of them stated yes. And second question is, have they heard of Sustainable Development Goal 12 specifically? And still a majority of both schools have stated yes. And the third question, we asked them if they are familiar with SDG 12, and it's a close call, but still the majority of them still stated yes. So for an in-depth look, this is the individual data of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So for question number 1 is still pretty close, but a majority of them stated yes. But when we asked them if they heard about Sustainable Development Goal 12, majority of them no. And lastly, for the third question, we asked them if they are familiar, and St. Patrick's School of Quezon City respondents answered a majority yes. Next is to be presented by my colleague in my Japanese counterpart, as the individual data of Meiwa in their survey.
Chisa, you are on mute, or we cannot hear your voice.
In Meiwa High School, most of students have heard of the term sustainability, but 42% of the students are not familiar with SDG 12. Some of them think that achieving this goal is hard for them. Next.
So question number 4 is an essay type. We asked them if their knowledge, how much do they know about this sustainable development goal, which is specifically sustainable development goal number 12. And most of the respondents that we interviewed stated that they didn't know about it, or sadly, they only know a little. Next. So on question numbers 5 to 8, also talks about knowledge of students about sustainable development goals. And this is the merged data, combined data of both schools. So for the first question there is, we asked them if they are familiar with the sustainable development programs of the school, but sadly, majority of them stated no. And then for the second question, my apologies if you are not able to see it, but what's asked there is we were asking them if they are responsible consumers. And thankfully, a majority stated yes. And then we asked them as well, do they consider sustainable development goal number 12 when buying products? But a majority of them have stated no. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going in depth. So first of all, the individual data of St. Patrick's School of Quezon. So again, with the first question, are they familiar with the sustainable development goal programs of the school? A majority of them stated yes. And then we asked them if they are responsible consumers, and thankfully, they stated yes. And we also asked them if they consider the sustainable development goal when purchasing products. And as for the previous question, it remains the same. Next. Now for the data again of Meiwa.
67% of Meiwa students are not familiar with school SDG programs, such as this SDG project named Land Wall. And 58% of our school students think they're responsible consumers. However, 81% of students don't consider SDG 12 when they buy something. So we can find that half of the students do responsible shopping without considering SDG 12. Next.
Okay, so in question number 6, we asked them how much do they think sustainable development goal 12 will benefit the school communities? And most of the respondents have stated sustainable development goal 12 can help in normalizing a healthy environment in the school. Now, next. So, in question 7, which was asked if they are responsible consumers, we also asked them to explain how are they responsible. So they stated that they are responsible consumers because they only buy what is only necessary. Next slide. So question 9 to 12 is still the same. Talks about knowledge, and the first one is the combined data of both schools. So the first question, as you can see, if we ask them if they are willing to pay extra for sustainable product, and it is a tie between yes and no on both schools. And then second question, it, we ask them if do they check if they are purchasing an eco-friendly product, and a majority of our respondents stated yes. And then we asked them as well if companies play a big role in big companies such as SM and other clothing lines play a big role in the promotion of SDG 12. And they a majority of our respondents stated yes. And then for the question at the very end, we asked them if they are willing to undergo sustainable development goal programs in the future. And thankfully, 53% of our respondents have answered yes. Now we're going in depth again. So the individual data of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. For the first question, we asked them if they are willing to buy, if they are willing to pay extra money for sustainable products, and 58% of them stated yes. And for the second question, we asked them if they check if they are purchasing an eco-friendly product, and a majority of them thankfully said yes. And the next question is, do big companies play a role in promoting sustainable development goal 12? A majority of our respondents answered yes. And lastly, we asked them if they are willing to undergo sustainable development goal program. A majority of them still stated yes. Now next, once again, the data of Meiwa.
42% of our school students said they can pay extra money for sustainable products, but the remaining 58% said they can't because the money that they have is limited. Next, 53% of the students usually think of eco-friendly products due to the influence of their parents. And 65% of Meiwa students don't know what will happen to them if the SDG 12 won't be achieved by 2030. Next.
So for the explaining of the answer, question number 9 was, we asked them if they are willing to pay extra for sustainable product. And the reasoning of those who said yes was because buying this would help protect the environment, while the ones that said no stated reasons such as they don't have enough money, or there are cheaper products that have the same quality as the sustainable ones. Next slide, please. So number 11, we asked them if they think that big companies help promote sustainable development goal 12. And the majority states that big companies can promote this by selling eco-friendly products like paper bags that are being sold by other malls. And that is the end of our survey. Now I would introduce my colleague, Angeline Khan, introduce our intervention method.
So in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, intervention plan is that they hosted video podcast where they invited guests to talk about SDG in general. Meiwa Senior High School also made videos and presentations about the uses of a certain material called limonene in recycling or upcycling products.
So, as stated, this is our first interviewee, which is Dr. Darida Kanay, the Director of Academics in St. Patrick's School. Next, so in the content of the interview is that we asked the interviewee about how much do they know and how much can they promote sustainable development goals in general, and how can they promote and disseminate the information about sustainable development goal. For a more more detailed answers, the video of the interview with Dr. Darida Kanay has been posted on the Facebook page of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. Next slide, please. So I would give the spotlight to our Japanese counterparts to explain the recycling with limonene.
Yeah, from Meiwa High School, we will explain about recycling with limonene. Next slide, please. The purpose of this research. Through the survey, we found that some students don't know about SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. And we concluded that they are not familiar with this goal, so we did research into an interesting way of recycling way that we can easily do. We hope the students to have more interest in goal 12. Next slide, please.
Limonene is a kind of substance that melts polystyrene because of chemical reaction. Limonene can be extracted from citrus peel, for example, oranges and lemons. I'm telling why limonene can melt polystyrene. The molecular structure of styrene is similar to that of limonene. So they melt together. Polystyrene is used around our lives. Wrapping clothes are often made of polystyrene, and containers of food is also made of it. Next.
Limonene has two benefits. Now let's compare with the traditional way of recycling. Next, please. This is a traditional way to recycling polystyrene. First, you need to burn polystyrene to make fibrous polystyrene. In this process, much carbon dioxide is generated. This is the first problem. Second, to make new polystyrene products from fibrous polystyrene, you need to add more polystyrene. I'll tell you the reason. Look at the left speech bubble. First, you repeat recycling of polystyrene. Second, the chemical connection between polystyrene's molecules get weaker. Third, you need to add new polystyrene to make the connection stronger. As you know, plastic is made of crude oil, so you need to add crude oil in this process. This is the second problem. Next, please. This is a recycling way with limonene. First, to make fibrous polystyrene, you don't need to burn it. You need to only put it in limonene. So you can reduce the 30% of the limonene, of the carbon dioxide, which is made in the whole process. Second, you need no additional polystyrene to make new polystyrene products. So you can reduce crude oil. For these reasons, we can say the recycling way with limonene is more eco-friendly than traditional one. Next, please.
We experimented with making styrofoam to show the simplest model of recycling that we could demonstrate. I will first discuss the focus of the experiment. First of all, as a basic knowledge, polystyrene dissolves in limonene due to the similarity of the two chemical structures. Polystyrene is precipitated by difference in polarity by adding ethanol. I wondered if it would be possible to inflate the precipitate of two created here and take out the styrofoam. Next, please. In the process, we made precipitate into small balls and combine them to reproduction the cushionate of styrofoam. Next, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Back, please. I'm sorry. Here is the experimental process. First, we use a dairy container as a material of polystyrene. Next, we dissolve it in 20 milliliters of limonene and added 10 milliliters of ethanol. Take out the precipitate. We make the precipitate into small balls and put them together into boiling water to inflate them. Next, please. Experimental results. We were able to create styrofoam by this experimental method. And get this, the styrofoam also dissolved in limonene. Next, please. From this experiment, we propose a recycling cycle. First, we make precipitate from dairy containers and process them into styrofoam in our way. When they finish their own balls, turn them into precipitate again. Through this cycle, we can use resources efficiently again and again. Also, when we throw away precipitate, we can exhaust them more efficiently due to their smaller volume. Next, please.
So, in conclusion, in the context of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City students, in the context, St. Patrick's School of Quezon City students are not aware about sustainable development goal compared to the respondents of Meiwa. That the Meiwa most of them are aware, and students perceive themselves as a responsible consumer and think that big companies are responsible in promoting sustainable development goal number 12. And next is schools should be able to disseminate or inform about the sustainable development goals and make their school community be a lot more involved. Sorry. And next is the material limonene may be used by schools to lessen their polystyrene waste and reduce their ecological footprint. Next, so as our proposals is, first of all, we encourage the students to engage in more activities that are related to SDG. Next is include in the school's curriculum about sustainable development goals. So simple teaching would suffice. Next is to use limonene as a recycled product for polystyrene. And lastly is to talk about future plans about Sustainability Day. Next. And that is all. Thank you for listening. Gosaicho arigatou gozaimashita.
Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much to the team. And yeah, it was worthwhile listening to your presentation. Would now like to ask our guest participants to ask questions to the team. I think there are two hands who are raising. We have, I think, it's the first one. Naomi again from Naomi. I think raise her hand from Mexico.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you.
be followed by Winnie. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Guys, could you place your presentation? It's a comment more than a question. And while you are setting everything up, please receive my congrats. Well done, good job. The slides where you presented the percentages were very good. But I would like to see your presentation because I want to make just one. The next from here, very good. The next, wait a second. Next. It's because I'm sorry, but I saw, no, next. Yes, no, the previous one. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of picky with some things. In your circles before the styrene, the last T is down. It shouldn't be down, so sorry. Maybe the next time you can present that in a bigger sphere. The text should be in 32 points of the, so everybody can see perfectly well. Now we are here in Zoom, we don't have a problem, but if you are in an auditorium, the people from the back are not going to be able to see your slide. Okay, in the next one, please. Here, for example, now, comma, might be nice, and then way of recycling period. Maybe they are just little things, but are very important when you deliver a presentation. And now you're becoming professionals in this. So that's why I'm just highlighting this kind of small and big details at the same time. Next, please. When you present a slide that has or contains images, you need to be guiding your audience. Like on the top right corner, you can see this, and then moving on, and then on the left, because if not, I was reading here and you were explaining that. I mean, it's okay, but you can do better, okay? Those are just my comments. Again, congratulations. And I'm so proud of both teams. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, Naomi, for the feedback. Okay, very well said. Winnie, I think, raised her hand a while ago.
Yes.
Winnie.
Okay. Thank you again. First of all, still congratulations and heartfelt, appreciation. I think this team group still like present a very valuable comment about SDG 12. So I just wondered that, just like a drama fan, I always like to know what it happened, what it will happen next. So I just like to ask your question because from your survey, you mentioned about some points about your student in the community. They think about the eco product is kind of spend money, and then you come up a solution, and also mentioned about the enterprise, a business company, and you come up the lemonade. So I just wondered that have you by conducting this project, have you ever reached out to talk about some like a business company? And the lemonade way, I think it's very genius. It's like a Nobel, scientist award to me. So is that, I mean, this lemonade can your student, your participant can do at home to real solve the problem that they maybe they think about the eco product. Being a responsible consumer, you pay extra money, it's not affordable. So how do you meet this, survey finding and your solution? And first of all, still just giving me your idea. So I think it's well presented already. Yeah. I just want to know that how do you, the lemonade way, can they do at home, every participant?
Okay, so the team, anyone could answer about the lemonine? Okay, anyone from from Meiwa? I think Winnie was saying earlier that if there is someone from the industry who would be able to watch this one, it could really be a very good proposal.
Or maybe you can tell us, for example, how to do it at home. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you need 3 lemons, no? So you can solve this amount.
Yeah,
of-
because I'm really interested about your finding, because you did a very excellent survey that what I heard about is that your participant, your student, they will say that eco product, they are not affordable. So I think this maybe it's a good point that we could like dig on, yeah, how to promote, bring their concept that maybe eco product doesn't, is not expensive. For example, you can also do some other thing about the eco product. For example, I think Mr. Kohei has some eco project. So maybe you can also do your recycle, clothes to do some eco bags, things like that. So I just wondered maybe you have a variable finding, but your solution, maybe you can also link with your finding, to make it more easier, affordable to your students and community. Yeah. And still, again, I want to congratulate. It's a very well thought, organized presentation. So you are genius.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Winnie and Dr. Dali. The
Yeah,
students from Meiwa High School are trying to answer Winnie's question.
Yeah, please,
so
please.
Could you give them time?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready? So Kylie or Yoshino or Chisa, please try. Okay.
Okay, I answer it. Could I answer it? I have a thing that I want to see.
Oh, they're going to show us something.
Oh, can you see?
That's exciting.
Can you see the orange tree of Meiwa?
No, we can see them.
We can see a curtain.
Can you spotlight?
Meiwa High School.
Oh, can you see?
Now we can see. We can see.
This is the orange tree. Okay. So far, I've been experimenting with harvesting oranges from that trees and extracting them from there. It is relatively simple. The students can easily understand the recycling structure. Actually, limonene is from orange. I'm an expert of lemon. Thank you.
Oh, so we can actually get it from the trees.
Yes.
And extract it.
After hearing you that, I can't wait to, just using the lemon to try your experiment, see, so move into your action already. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm going to do it too.
Yeah, I would like to pick up some lemon and to try.
Okay, we have
actually,
another question.
lemons in Mexico are super expensive, but I will do it.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
yeah, we'll now proceed with the next question, I think, with Nakashima.
Yeah, we believe the individual tiny efforts lead to a huge transformation, like in making the world better. But I guess next step is you guys analyzed a lot, and numerous companies aim to enhance their corporate image. So maybe I'm just curious, how many students want to take action to contact the companies to collaborate with your school? So because of one of my American friends, John, always collaborate and invite the company's offer. And the students create the more outstanding image, and also for example, beautiful architecture and eco-friendly architecture design, and send the idea to the company, and then company just give us some budget. So keep their next project. So So how many people wants to take the next action? Just curious.
Can I ask your question?
Sure.
Okay, so Meiwa High School is a super science high school, and we are finishing our second term as a SSH super science high school, and now applying for the third term. And one of the our target of the next term is build a cooperative relationship between the organization outside school, like
Amazing.
local government, but we have just this is our hope.
Idea.
We will
idea.
have. So we don't have any concrete the plan or complete target companies, but we want to do something collaboratively.
How about St. Patrick and the school?
Yeah, I'd like to share, Korea, Nakashima. Hopefully we'll be able to integrate this one. I think our president, she's teaching entrepreneurship as a subject, and later on we'll be able to connect it with SDG, because the actual products of our students in their subject entrepreneurship are really wonderful. And many of the products, like some of them did really become entrepreneurs of the actual products that they have created. Ma'am Sari, are you still around?
Yes, Larry, yes.
Ma'am Sari, can you actually share with us the success stories of our students in their entrepreneurship classes?
Yes, we're very happy because as part of our senior high school education, we have what we call the work immersion, which is part of the curriculum required of us by the DepEd. And based on that, we integrate our subjects. We integrate entrepreneurship into work immersion so that they use the enterprises that they actually create. And we try to use the online platform right now, wherein they can actually do the selling online. And so far, we've been very happy in the last couple of years. It's been improving over the years. Some of our science students from the STEM are actually developing their own products, like soap, organic soap in particular. And there are also some who are now doing even wholesaling. They've understood the concept of not just retailing products, but actually doing wholesaling to distributors. So we're very happy that some of them have already been earning about 60,000 pesos for their, which is very good, because in the beginning we were only earning a very small, but they have learned a lot from these subjects. And we have discussed this with Dr. Daca and I recently as part of our planning for next year, that we will use some of the projects that our students have been thinking about and planning and preparing, and we are planning to integrate actually the collaborations, the international collaboration projects into the subjects, including entrepreneurship. Like for Japan, we're looking at maybe an exchange, an exchange of products developed or manufactured in the Philippines to be sold to our Japanese counterparts, and maybe some of the Japanese products to be sold here in the Philippines. So these are really some of the new things that we are preparing. We're very excited for the next year, when we look forward to more real experiences for our students.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Sari, for the answer. We'll now proceed with, I think, the last question coming from Ronnie. Ronnie?
It was great. I'm happy to hear from the kids. And lemon, they're right. Most of the kids, like at Japan, the student who talk about lemon, you just need to know which orange got the high amount of lemonade, and also know how to do the distilled. So that's the one students need to work on, which variety got the high amount of limonene and the distillation process. That's the science side. And it been, students are working on this for the last 5 years, and you can see proper papers published on it. The thing I will tell you to go on other oils, work on plants, and you can find something different that you can, that will be cool. To limonene is there already. People are working on it. It's already established very well. They research and publish a lot of papers on it. So I will want the kids to go for maybe different varieties of oranges to get maximum, and also try different oils. And I really like it. The science point of their work is super. Heads up to them, and keep up the good work, and appreciate all of your work. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ronnie, I think one of the member from the team raised his hand.
Hi, I would just like to add on because I think Miss Winnie asked us about our plans in the future. So I would like to share with you something that we've been working on, and it's called Sustainability Day. Yeah, I know that's pretty simple, but okay, hear me out. Sustainability Day is essentially a day that we, how do you say, use, where in that day we're only going to be using recyclable products. So everything recyclable, like cups maybe, or bags, we are going to be using only recyclable materials on that day, or maybe on those days. And we're still in the experimental phase of this project, and maybe if we were able to promote this project big enough, maybe we could do this similarly to the Earth Hour, where that 1 hour they would, I think, shut off all their lights and electricity. Yes, it would be similar to that. And that's all. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much for that information. We actually did that. No, this group made us use only one aircon in the office, and it's quite difficult because.
No, sir. No, that wasn't us actually.
That was not you.
No. That was the group of I think it was group 3. Yes, group 3.
Yeah,
That wasn't
next
me.
group.
Sorry.
Yeah, next group.
The next group. All right, thank you very much. I got so excited. Okay, thank you very much to team number 2. We're now going to proceed now with team number 3. Team number 3 is headed by Teacher LJ De Leon and Teacher Camille Balagtas. Go ahead, Teacher LJ and Camille.
Hello, good day, everyone. I am Teacher LJ.
And I am Teacher Camille. We are the teacher facilitators of Group 3.
And for Group 3, our SDG is SDG 13, which is climate action.
And the title of our group's project is Less Consumption.
We want to meet, of course, we want you to meet the members of the group.
So may we call on Carl, one of the members from St. Patrick's School, Quezon City, Philippines, to introduce us the members.
So to start off our presentation, let me introduce to you the Philippine members. So we have Jerome Salonga as our group leader, and Carl Mangahas and Danica Casimiro as the other members of our group. Unfortunately, Danica Casimiro would be unable to present in this presentation because of personal reasons. Okay, so
I will introduce Japanese members of Group 3. Next slide, please. Our leader is Nanami Fukui. Teammates are Yuho Watanabe, Yotaro Hirahara, and Yuna Kato. I'm pleased to meet you today. Our SDGs. SDG 13, or climate action, is one of the impact sustainable development goals because it asks people to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. Without the knowledge or awareness about these SDGs, many people will continue to convert to the first recent change and will create data neglect and have impacts than what people expect to happen.
CO2 emission calculation. For the background, since our SDG focuses on making necessary actions to address the issues related to climate change, we decided to first study about greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide or CO2. It is also reasonable to study before making other projects to know what would work and be successful. So according to our calculations, CO2 emissions from air conditioner accounts high percentages, and reducing the usage by 70% or lower has an effect. We found it important to reduce emissions from air conditioner to reduce total emissions from both of our schools. So we focus on plans that reduces the use of air conditioners. We also had tabulation of values in order to compare the total CO2 emissions of values of air conditioners in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. The data that is shown is only a prediction and does not accurately give the exact TCO2 emission, also in ppm, as a digital air quality monitor would be needed to show such data. For our concept, the overall concept of this project is to gather all the details regarding carbon dioxide in order for us to decide what project is the best to do in a school setting. By researching and gathering data, the group is able to make two other plans that we hope to contribute and be meaningful for the betterment of the world. These are our objectives. We start with our small scale objectives. Now we head on to our secondary objectives. And lastly, our primary objectives. So for the methods, first, gather data that is needed. Second, calculate using the data from school. Third, tabulate the calculation values. Fourth, evaluate if it is over the safe levels. And the fifth and last one is interpret the calculations. So this is the calculation of CO2 emission in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So the result of our calculation is 10.71 CO2 emission per day from a single air conditioner in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City.
Japanese groups also made a formula to calculate CO2 emissions from air conditioners' electricity. The formula is just as written here. And also, in order to compare the emissions of carbon dioxide from air conditioner and from kerosene stove. So we calculated carbon dioxide emissions by using kerosene stove. It is also just as written here.
So we head on now to the Philippine team's discussion. In the previous meetings with the Japanese team, they have taught us the calculation of carbon dioxide emissions of air conditioner. With simple math and data that we have gathered from school administrators, we successfully predicted the carbon dioxide emissions in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. We also want to prove that even us students could actually calculate the carbon dioxide emissions both in total carbon dioxide emission amount and also in parts per million amount. So we just had a tabulation of values in order to compare the total carbon dioxide emission values and also the parts per million values of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City with 100% and 70% usage. Along with this, the group had a comparison of total carbon dioxide emission in millimoles per liter of a single air conditioner when used in 8 hours and 6 hours. The data that will be shown is only a prediction and does not accurately give the exact total carbon dioxide emission amount, as a digital air quality monitor would be needed to show such data. So please look at this table. So the table in here is the carbon dioxide emissions in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City with 100% usage of aircons. So as we can see in here, we have the total carbon dioxide emissions with its unit millimoles per liter. The other one, the one below it, is the parts per million conversion of carbon dioxide emissions in milligrams per liter unit. So as we could see, when converted into parts per million, the value grows and actually increases as they have different conversions. Now, let's look at the 70% usage of carbon dioxide emissions when data is gathered from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So as we can see, we also have here the total carbon dioxide emission amount and the parts per million carbon dioxide emission amount. So since the usage is only at 70%, the numbers actually decreases as we go on. So this would actually be the clarification of the data that we gave you. So as we could see in here, when the amount of ppm rises or increases over 1,000, it is considered as hazardous to human health. The same applies in the 70% consumption table. As we could see, we could only use 1 to 2 aircons in a single enclosed space, and 3 to 4 aircons would be hazardous as it exceeds the 1,000 parts per million limit. Now that we have those things said, let's tackle the daily emission of a single air conditioner in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So we have here the value of a single air conditioner when turned on for 8 hours, which is 10.71 total carbon dioxide emission amount, or 492.66 parts per million limit. So this data will be discussed later. Next one is the value of a single air conditioner when turned on for only 6 hours. So what we did in here, this value, is that we subtracted 2 hours by turning off a single air conditioner. Next one is the effect of turning off a single air conditioner. So we have here the average value of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City overall. So this is the total carbon dioxide emission amount of all devices that is used in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. Meanwhile, on the lower part is the average value of CO2 emissions in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City when a single air conditioner is turned off for 2 hours. So as we can see, although the difference is just I think 2.5 and above, it causes a significant amount of decrease. And if we could increase the amount of air conditioners that are turned off, it could bring a lot of changes.
The Japanese group also decided to calculate the emissions by using air conditioner, and in addition, compare the emissions of carbon dioxide by air conditioner with a heater. Please look at the table. This table shows that carbon dioxide emission in Meiwa. The total amount of electricity and gas used in the year in Meiwa was 245,000 tons carbon dioxide per year. And also, air conditioner in Meiwa was 102,200 tons carbon dioxide per year.
About CO2 emission by using kerosene stove. Please look at this table. Expect temperature 20.8 into 21.8, CO2 emission from the stove or more than emission from air conditioner. Stoves emission on average emitted about 1.7 times as much CO2 as the air conditioner emission on average to warm up the classroom once.
Now for the Philippine team results. So while we calculate, assess, and interpret the values of the total carbon dioxide emissions and also parts per million conversion, it is also important that we determine the unhealthy and healthy amounts of total carbon dioxide emissions. With these things being said, we formulated two plans to lessen the carbon dioxide emissions and also spread awareness about it. So with the data that we showed earlier, what does that prove? So the normal and healthy carbon dioxide concentrations in parts per million is only 400 to 1,000 in indoor spaces. With the calculations given the data in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, we concluded that classrooms could only have 2 air conditioners that are running. Meanwhile, the unhealthy carbon dioxide concentrations in parts per million are anywhere above 1,000 parts per million in indoor spaces. In those high concentrations, carbon dioxide hurts well-being, that is causing headaches, fatigue, and lack of attention. Reducing the consumption of appliances even by an amount of 70% or even lower could be helpful. With the consumption being lesser, it also means that the total carbon dioxide emission levels gets lower, giving a much healthier indoor environment. So our source for this information is greendoctors.com. Turning off a single air conditioner in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City for 2 hours reduces total carbon dioxide emissions by 25%. So if we turn off more air conditioners, it would increase the value of reductions.
Result. After seeing the data, we have made plans that will switch the situation of Meiwa Super High Science High School, such as climate, duration, and frequency of use. Along with this, we've shown the data that shows the location if all air conditioning devices are turned off. What does the data prove? Shelter from using air conditioner account for about 40% in total emission in Meiwa High School. The effect of restricting the use of air conditioner is great. With the data, we conclude that the plan about turning the use of the all stop in Meiwa High School into the air conditioner would be useful.
Proposals. The Philippine group came up with the idea upon seeing that one of the targets of the SDG 13, climate action, in target 13.3 focuses on the following. And we thought that the best way to achieve the target is to make infographics and spread it through social media. So, we thought about reducing the consumption by having less power level of the air conditioner or having it at 70% usage. After the letter for the implementation of less consumption month was approved with the given data that we have, our director for administration agreed upon turning off at least one air conditioning unit in the campus for 2 hours. With that, the less consumption days in our schools are on February 9, 18, 24, and 28 from 1 to 3 p.m. For our projects, our first project is infographics about the effects of greenhouse gases, and the second is less consumption month and no consumption time.
So for the Philippine team's less consumption month, in this less consumption month, there will be 4 days that will be assigned as less consumption days. On these days, On these days, a single air conditioner will be turned off for 2 hours. This would both benefit school staff and our group's goal to lessen the total carbon dioxide emissions, as the school staffs, administrators, and teachers would be able to do work while also cutting down on total carbon. Please take a look at this calendar. So this is the calendar that we proposed and that was approved by our Director for Administration in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. The first less consumption day was conducted on Wednesday, February 9, from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. in Philippine time.
I'll explain about no-consumption time. We thought of setting it from noon to the end of the class every day. During the time, students try not to use air conditioner or other heating equipment. However, due to the influence of COVID-19, some of the windows are always open and some students feel cold, so we have to think about consideration for them. Next slide, please. This is a no-consumption time schedule in Japan. In 6-hour class day, Tuesday and Friday, we set it from noon to 3 p.m. In 7-hour class day, Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, we will set it from noon to 4 p.m. No consumption time conclusion. When we did this, the total emission from Meiwa will decrease about 90%. If our high school in Japan do the same, the total emission in Japan decreased about 0.021%.
Now for our next and last project, we have the creation of infographics about the effects of greenhouse gases. The infographics that the group created will surely spread awareness with it being informative and its pleasing design. Along with the publication of the page in Facebook and posting of photos, we shared the page to academic group chats in order to reach more engagements. So in here, in the next slide, we have the infographics that the Philippine group made. So it contains the greenhouse gases and some information about it, its effects, how to lessen the emission of greenhouse gases as a consumer and individual, and also our project, which is the less consumption month with its calendar. So for the last part of our discussion, we have the related photos, which serves as the documentation of our progress in this collaboration. So for our references, we use a total of 13 literatures for our research of the calculations and also the details that we provided in this discussion.
Watashi wa Philippine to Nihon no Chimu-san desu. Arigato.
Kami ang ikalawang pangguwat mula sa Pilipinas at bansang Hapon. Maraming salamat po.
We are the Team 3 from Philippines and Japan, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Superb presentation for team number 3. Wow. It was giving me goosebumps in your presentation. There are 2 questions I got from our guest. The first question is specifically for the Japanese students. And the question is, what are the most widely experienced negative impact of climate change in Japan? Again, what are the most widely experienced negative impact of climate change in Japan? And what can you do as a student to address them? Wow, very nice question. Again, for the last time, what are the most widely experienced negative impact of climate change in Japan? And what can you do as a student to address them? Nana?
Yes, thank you for the questions. I think Japan is located along the sea. So Japan is one of the island country. So I think tsunami is one of the big big disaster because due to the global warming and climate change. So I think students have to make the hazard map in the city. Actually, we wanted to make the hazard map to know how much the sea level will rise when the earthquakes and tsunami will occur. But so this project, we realized that it is difficult for us to predict the sea levels because the change of sea levels is a little, so it is difficult for us to indicate into the hazard map. So we gave up the project, but actually I wanted to make the hazard map. So I think for the students, it is good for students to just see around the city and find the dangerous point in our city. It is very useful way to prevent the damage from the tsunami. It's my opinion.
Wow, thank you very much, Nana. Very well said. Yeah, the hazard map, I think that's very good. Yeah, and you were able to give an example, tsunami, no? Yeah, very well said. And I think Royotaro, okay, is also raising his hand to answer. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the writing syllable is one of the biggest effort, biggest, because one report shows 97% of beach in Japan will disappear by rising sea level by 2100. So it is important to prevent rising sea level like during the less consumption month or no consumption time.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryotaro. The rising sea levels would greatly affect a lot of people. That's very good. Thank you very much, Ryotaro, for the answer. And now there's another interesting question, this time for the Philippines, for the students in St. Patrick's School. Considering the weather in the Philippines, air conditioning is almost a need already. So how can this project be successful? That's the first question. Anyone from the Philippines? Go ahead, Carl.
So with that concern, thank you for the question. We actually set up the less consumption days on dates like February 9, February 18, and 24 and 28. So, however, if the weather is too warm or it is too hot in our country or in our place, we could just reschedule the dates and the days where we will conduct our less consumption days in order for the staffs and the administrators to be comfortable in their work.
There's a follow-up question on this one. The question is, do you think electric fans use less emission than air cons? And when we go back to face-to-face schooling, are you willing to use electric fans instead of air cons?
Okay, so I'm going to answer those questions again. In terms of if we do think that the electric fans use less carbon dioxide emissions than air conditioners, it definitely is because of certain mechanisms that air conditioners have that electric fans doesn't. Okay, in terms of if we could use electric fans in face-to-face classes, I think we definitely could. Back in my elementary days, I could remember that in a single room, we used to have only 2 electric fans and we could study well. So it definitely could be a case for us in face-to-face classes.
All right, very well said, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. That's a very good.
The school president is here.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Philippine team.
Thank you very much, Carl, for answering. I guess we have a question from Ronnie. Ronnie?
I just want to tell you the air con is not create carbon dioxide. It's the fossil fuel is creating carbon dioxide. Okay, so the fuel, like what are you're using it? If you're using solar panel, it's not going to create carbon dioxide. So we need to figure out. And also, how do you check carbon dioxide amount in your classroom? Is the students create a classroom or created by AC? So this data need to be really clear. Okay. And so you need to figure out how you get the data. Is what is responsible. So you can, if you are getting energy from a fossil fuel, then you can convert AC. And it's also, if you have a centralized system, it's different. If you have an individual ACs create, and also now you can find smart ACs are coming around. They create a very less, pollution. So you can think about it. So your data need to be really clear in a science form, because I'm talking about a science way of thinking it. And also, you can try it if your school is there. You just need to have use a lot of fans, and the ventilation, and make sure your building is more open, natural lighting, and use less cement construction, and it's fine. So it's up to us to use AC. It's the way we want, because we need to look which way we want convenience. We want everything, and we want nature. We want that's the way, Sometimes we need to give certain things our convenience, then we can work it out. So I don't know the data that you're collecting, that carbon dioxide level in a classroom, that really need to be careful. Is the students created? Is it from AC? Because ACs, they don't create carbon dioxide. The fossil fuels we are burning creates the carbon dioxide. Okay, so you need to clear where these carbon dioxide come. And I don't think kerosene is now we are using it. Normally developed countries, they don't use kerosene anymore. So I like this idea. And also I would tell you students that one project I'm doing with my students, because all the AC vents are upstairs in our school. So I made a garden, organic garden. It's there. So all the oxygen that created by the plants goes back to the classes. So I'm trying to get their data, but the reason data need to be very clear. So I was trying to check we can buy the oxygen meter that, blood oxygen levels. So I'm checking with the students, is the blood oxygen levels are going up or not? And I need to correct that, making happy. But for me, the data is not enough. So I'm waiting for maybe 1 or 2 years. I need that much time to make sure there is a connection. So you need to make sure those data are, correct and concrete. When you tell others, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, but I appreciate all of your work. The start is great. Keep up the good work. Okay, learn from the mistake, and networking is a great thing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Ronnie, for the feedback and comments. I think Winnie was raising her hand. Winnie?
Yeah, again, me again. But I really interested about the all project. So like Teacher Ronnie say that Teacher Ronnie is an expert because he's a biology teacher, talking about a scientific wise. So for me, I would like to add on. So I think I want to give you a big claw that I can imagine that in Philippines, the hot weather, Dr. Sir Donnie and principal, the administration, they cannot, for the less consumption day, you have come up some very concrete idea, the action plan. So encourage your community to work together, like a less air conditioning. And also for me, I would like to add on the practical idea about, it's not about maybe about the air conditioning. So maybe you can also promote that how, the dresses, you can come up some idea for your teacher and student in your community. So to think about something you can wear, because I know there are some like product, they can also encourage that you don't need so many air conditioner, but you need to wear like a cooler effect. So I think maybe this is a point you can also encourage your community to do and think about it. Yeah, again, I want to congratulations for this team. Wonderful, awesome input and scientific report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Winnie. I think we have another question from Naomi. Naomi?
Yes, as Winnie says, me again. First of all, congratulations, guys, to all the team, all your hard work. And I totally agree with Teacher Ronnie, because we are seeking for new ways to improve our environment, but we don't want to leave our being comfortable, right? I don't know the temperature in the Philippines, but in Mexico, we have schools near the coast. Okay, so they are, and in my country, we don't have the benefit of AC in those schools. So what they are doing is they are building green roofs. I don't know, maybe Teacher Ronnie can help us with that. And they don't even have fans, imagine, or electrical fans. So they don't have anything. They just open their windows. So I believe that if we are into all these SDGs and projects, I think we need to go sometimes to the basics. Like, okay, what is more important? Yes, we need to be comfortable to take our class, etc. Yes, but maybe the way we dress, maybe to have more plants, to take care of our plants. Look for example, remember that we need to water plants very early in the morning, and that is going to maintain also the surroundings fresh, and late at night, like after the sunset. And again, that is going to help us know that when we arrive, the environment is going to be cool. I don't know, Teacher Ron, if I'm saying something that is not correct, correct me, please. But so maybe, I don't know, as I told you, I don't know the temperature over there, neither in Japan. I'm talking about my experience here in Mexico with these schools with no resources to have ACs. They have found a way because they had to. So sometimes our need is the engine we need to come up with new ideas. So far, congratulations on your work, your research, but now maybe we can turn and look for something more, I don't know, eco-friendly, no? And maybe that's the next step. Thank you so much, guys, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much to the guests who rendered their questions to our students. We'll now proceed with the fourth group. The fourth group is being headed by Teacher Renzo Calmasco from the Philippines. Teacher Renzo, go ahead.
Good day, world. I am Mr. Renzo Halmasco from the Philippines, and I am the teacher facilitator of Group 4. Let me present to you my members: Joanna, Daniel, Alessandra, Teru, Amane, Mao, and Ayumi. And we are going to present a certain research aligned to SDG goal number 14, life below water. Now, let me call on Daniel Undan to start the presentation.
To formally introduce our assigned SDG, may I call on Teru?
Goal 14, Life Below Water, is the SDG target assigned to us. This goal is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Next.
Now, since our SDG has an overall of 15 focus targets, we want to specify which targets that we are going to cover through this project. For our first target that will be covered is what we call target 14.1. It states here, increase scientific knowledge, research, and technology for ocean health. Next, for our second target to be covered is reduce marine pollution. Now, to formally start, let me introduce Joanna Akbang for the title of our research.
This is our title, Investigating and Detecting the Presence of Microplastics. Now, I would like to introduce Amane from Team Japan.
I'm going to explain background.
Plastic waste began to be discharged gradually since the early 1950s. In recent years, humans produced about 30 million tons of plastic waste every year. These waste were carried through the river and to the sea and became microplastics. They have a great impact on our ecosystem, so SDG 14 was set. Next.
Now, with our background about microplastic being stated, we made a concept of this microplastics or marine microplastics first specification will affect many aspects of the marine fish and marine food chain. So these microplastics have really toxic effects on fish and other aquatic life, and including reducing food intake, delaying growth, causing oxidative damage and abnormal behavior. Thus, to tackle this serious issue or this serious matter about microplastic pollution in the marine ecosystem, various policies, rules, and projects must be formulated. Now, to avoid future threat, it is important to stop producing it further and replace the plastic with alternative eco-friendly materials. Now, here our objective will be presented by Ayumi, please.
Next, I'm going to talk about our projective. The students, researchers from the Philippines and Japan aims to know how much plastic are actually thrown into the ocean. We also aim to know which type of plastic products are commonly discharged into the oceans. Next, I would like to ask Sandra from the Philippines to give a presentation.
Thank you. So in conducting our research, we had to identify what type of microplastics we would find in the sand that we gathered from Japan and the Philippines. So there are 7 types of microplastics. The first one is PET, next PEHD, PVC, PELD, PP, PS, and any plastic item not made from the above 6 plastics is lumped together as a number 7 type of plastics. Now to call on our next reporter, Mao from Japan, to introduce the methods that we used during this research.
I'll talk you about the method. We collected the microplastics by 2 methods. Method 1. First, take sand from the beach and measure the amount of the sand. Second, put it in the sieve or a big beaker to separate microplastic. It's plastics that less than 5 millimeters in diameter. Third, collect the strings which pass through the 5 millimeter hole of the net. Fourth, take out what appeared to be microplastics with tweezers. Next slide, please. Fifth, record the proportion of microplastic to the sand. Sixth, prepare a beaker of water, a beaker of sucrose solution, and a beaker of ethanol aqueous solution. Seventh, adjust the density of sucrose and ethanol solution. And finally, put all the collected plastic and check if it floats or doesn't. Next, please. Method 2. We use this method to separate PET and PVC. First, here's the tip of the tweezers. Here's the tip of the tweezers and put the plastic on it. Second, burn it in the flame. And finally, watch the color change of the flame. If the color turns green, the plastic we burned is PVC. Next, I'd like Johanna from the Philippines to give presentation.
Here is the test guide. As we can all see, materials float in the surface solution, and only 2 materials float on the water, which are PE and PV. Meanwhile, in the aqueous ethanol solution, there is only one, which is PP. Now, I would like to introduce Teru.
These are photos of the experiments done by Japanese students. The photo on the top left is of the sand we collected. And the one of the right is of the ethanol solution we used to separate microplastics. And the one of the bottom left is of the sieve we used to separate the sizes. Next slide, please. These are pictures of Kamezaki Port where we collected sand. We choose this location because it is close to the area where one of our members lives. Next, please. This is the result. We found a number of plastics, as you can see. The largest amount in Japan was 198 pieces of PE out of 3,850 grams of beach sand. I would like to done.
Now here are the photos of the Philippines for the process in making our experiments using solutions, using beaker to separate the microplastics and the sand. And for our for our sampling place, we got the beach sand from Calatagan, Batangas, because this is a resort wherein more tourists and local Filipinos are prone or into, because this is a resort wherein they can stay, and we want to attest if microplastic exists in this kind of resort wherein people are prone on using it. Next. For the result, because we have a small amount of pitch sands, which is only 300 grams, we only found a few microplastics out of it, and we only found 2 pieces of PP and 3 pieces of PE, and for the other 2, which is PET and PVC, we did not found any. But same with the result of the Japanese students, the largest amount was PE of polyethylene, which which is the same with the Japanese result. Now, may I call on Alessandra for our discussion?
So given the result of the experiment conducted by Japanese and Philippines, wherein the researchers found out that PE microplastics, including LDPE and HDPE, PET, are the most discharged plastics in the oceans, even on a small amount of sand as presented by the Philippine team with only 300 grams of sand as their sample. So it is indeed that microplastics exist and could furtherly harm life below water. That all being indicated, the researchers from Japan and the Philippines proposed ways on possible actions people could do to reduce and lessen the usage of plastics and to save marine life. Now for our proposed projects, let me call on my team member Joanna Hakbang from the Philippines.
This is our proposal: ecological materials as an alternative for plastics. In a plastic-filled world, avoiding plastic can be pretty challenging. But finding alternatives to common items like plastic bottles and plastic packaging is becoming increasingly easier, and not a moment too soon for our plastic-choked planet. The second one is online awareness. Learning about and raising knowledge about a phenomenon is a must for the people in a society to be aware and become part of the change. Sometimes care is what the environment needed, but a bridge should be made between. The last one is recycled plastic wraps. Plastic containers work their way into just about every aspect of everyone's daily lives. You'll likely spot one of the 50 million if you do a simple scan of the room that you're currently sitting in. The dependence on these materials makes recycling and reusing plastic bottles essential for the health of the planet. Now, I would like to call again Amane from Team Japan.
We propose to change products made of polyethylene to those made of alternatives. For example, people can use paper bags instead of plastic and silicone film instead of food wrap film. Next, please.
Now, for our online awareness, we made use of the platforms such as Instagram and Facebook for spreading the awareness of SDG Life Below Water. Now, in making the platform more engaging and fruitful, we made 3 activities such as posters, infographics, and featured videos. And on the latter part, we made My Pledge this 2020 that indicates students' pledge in making life below water healthy and better for the benefit of all. And in addition, for the interactive medium, we made use of hashtag as well, which is called Let Us Be Blue in supporting marine life. Now, these are the related photos for the result of the project, the proposal rather.
DIY in plastic bottles. We use plastic bottles to make things because it helps protect and preserve goods and less harmful for our ocean. Recycling plastic water bottles also help to decrease the amount of pollution in the air and water sources. And it also reduces greenhouse gas emissions. The use of plastic bottles are prone to destroying our ocean. There are many ways to reuse plastic. Make it into a piggy bank, utensil holder, soap holder, pencil case, and many more. Next slide, please. Now, these are the steps. First, draw a line on the plastic bottle. Use any kind of marker to draw the line on the plastic bottle. Number 2, cut the plastic bottle. Use any kind of cutting object like scissors, cutter, knife, and etc. And last, put a hole on the plastic bottle. Use a knife. Be careful when you deal with fire and don't play with the fire. Next slide, please. DIY in plastic containers. Reusing containers is one of the most effective and inexpensive ways to reduce the environmental impact of packaging. Packaging is an unavoidable part of everyday life. It protects products, preserves them, enhances them, displays important information, acts as a marketing tool, and allows for safe transportation. Plastic containers are microwavable containers. Here in the Philippines, it is used to store leftover foods. But there are many ways to use these containers again. It can be used again as a storage for arts, food keys, storage for coins, and many more. Next slide, please. Now, here are the steps. First, clean the used plastic container. Clean with soap, rinse with water. Number 2, design the plastic container. Use any kind of art materials in designing the container. And last, put the lid. Use any kind of art materials again in designing the lid. And finally, put art materials such as frames. Now, I would like to call Undan for the message.
Now, before I go for the message, these are the references in conducting or through the process of the research. And for our last message, upon learning this SDG Life Below Water, we made a 3 Ps, which is protect, preserve, and play. Play a role in making life below water healthy and for the benefit of all. Again, we are Group 4, and let us be blue. We are ready now to answer your questions and inquiries.
All right. Thank you very much to team number 4 for that excellent presentation. We'll be able to receive a few questions. We have one coming from Indonesia, Orifa. I think Orifa, she has a question to the team. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the team here. You're wonderful, and you are like a young researcher and expert, and you already pro on your major. So I'm really proud of you, because when I was at your age, I think I know nothing about some issues, the global issues, but your guys are really great. And I want to underline something about the microplastic. That's it's. I think you didn't mention about that. The microplastic will be on our dining table because it's mixed with the salt that we consume. So the dangerous part of the plastic, that's it's come back to us. That's why. And another thing that's as I'm also crafter. That's why at my in Indonesia, craft from recycling material is become highly cost. I mean the economical cost from the craft is higher than the plastic itself. That's why it's difficult to reduce the plastic itself because they become high economy from the crafter like me. But of course, I always promote to my friends that let's stop recycling plastic product as a craft because it's a high economy. So by doing the craft with the plastic, it means that we cannot stop the using of plastic because people saw that it's more artistic and a source of economic for other families, I think. But so far, you are really good thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Orfa from Indonesia. I think Danny will be able to answer, and Alexandra. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that that is right. Maybe in using plastic made crafts, maybe we can use the used one, not the new one, so that we could really recycle it. And to the concern of using plastic, it's really relevant now because plastic is lightweight and in less space, and due to its natural components. And I believe that they are more durable and versatile, means they can be transformed in many things. That's why the lesson here is we typically need plastic because plastic is almost an essential in making products. But what we don't need is plastic waste. So that's why we are pointing out that this plastic waste should be recycled instead of throwing away. Because sometimes when we are throwing it away, it is in the Philippines data. If may I share, there are 2.7 million tons of plastic distributed or generated in the Philippines alone each year. And 20% of that, which is estimated to 540,000 of plastic, are distributed in the ocean. So that's why it's really dangerous. So instead of throwing it away, why can't we recycle it? So that's really another point that plastic, we cannot escape it because it's badly needed, but we can do something to prevent it from furtherly damaging our environment. That's all. Thank you for that concern again.
Thank you so much. That's really good idea too.
Thank you very much, Danny. I think we'll have Alexandra.
Yes, thank you for that question. And to answer, yes, you're correct. We do need plastics. Plastic in oceans is a worldwide crisis which has a great impact not only on our health, our natural environment, and of course the vulnerable marine animals that have been observed suffering from entanglement or ingestion of different types of plastics. So I think one of the main factors why our oceans have plastic waste and microplastics is because it usually joins other garbage in the landfill instead of being sent to facilities that can properly recycle it.
Wow, thank you, Alexandra. I'd like to hear from the Meiwa students. Anyone from Meiwa, from Amane, Mao, or Ayumi, or Teru? Anyone from Meiwa about the use of plastics? Can you give us any feedback about it? Teru, Amane, Mao, or Ayumi? Ayumi, would you want to say something? Or you're about to say something? Okay, I guess it was all, encapsulate or synthesized by the members of the team because they work as a team. Would like to thank, are they going to say something already? Ayumi, would you want to say something?
I would like to underline from previous speaker from Daniel and Alessandra.
Yeah.
That's yes, they are both and the team are correct. That's we cannot escape from the using of plastic. Even when let's reduce it and then recycle, reuse, and also be wise with the using of plastic. That's the most important thing. So because when we use it unwisely, the effect will come to will come to our food, and then it will affect our health too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arifa from Indonesia, for that question, and for the team number 4 for answering the question. We now proceed with the last group. Hooray! We now have the last group, team number 5. This is headed by Teacher Josephine Manala from the Philippines. Teacher Joe, go ahead.
Mabuhay, magandang umaga, Ohio gozaimasu, good morning. I am Josephine Manalad, your teacher facilitator from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, 14-5. Our SDG of focus is SDG 15, which is all about life on land. And our project title is Sustainable Agriculture, focusing on palm oil plantation. At this point, allow me to introduce our leaders from Meiwa Super Science School of Japan. We have Mahiro Otsuka, and from the Philippines, St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Ryu Kenshin Bautista, to introduce the other members.
Good morning, everyone. So, introducing my team members from the Philippines, we have Mariela Bacoy, Francis Gabriel Bernardino, and Ryu Kenshin Bautista, which is me. Now, I'll let my Japanese counterpart to introduce their members. Mahiro, please.
Yes, members from Meiwa are Kazuha Yokoi and Ryosuke Michikoshi and Mahiro Otsuka.
Okay, now, so going on, it is such a pleasure to be with all of you today. We are the team 5 of this collaboration aiming to serve the 15th Sustainable Development Goal, Life on Land. So starting off, where did these Sustainable Development Goals came from? Here's a little background on it. The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as we call it, were born at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio de Janeiro in 2012. The objective was to produce a set of universal goals that meet the urgent environmental, political, and economical challenges facing our world. So for this presentation, we're gonna be mostly tackling over SDGs 15's target, which are target 15.1, 15.2, and target 15.5, which are conserve and restore terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems, and deforestation and restore degraded forests, and protect biodiversity and natural habitats. So the main goal of this SDG is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. A flourishing life on land is the foundation for our life on this planet. We are all part of the planet's ecosystem, and we have caused severe damage to it through deforestation, loss of natural habitats, land degradation, and lots of other more reasons. Preserving biodiversity is not a cause. It is the key to our own survival. But as to why this is all happening comes from the root itself, deforestation. We have Marie to continue.
Between the years 2015 and 2020, the rate of deforestation was estimated 7 million hectares per year, down from 16 million hectares per year in the 1990s. The area of primary forest worldwide has decreased by over 80 million hectares since 1990. The world has 4.6 billion remaining hectares of forest, according to the recently released key findings of the Global Forest Resources Assessment 2020, of this area, only about 1.11 billion hectares are primary forest or native forests that remain largely undisturbed by humans. But why is deforestation happening? Here are the causes of deforestation. First, the clear cutting for logging and pulpwood, forest conversion for permanent pasture, urban expansion, chemical defoliants, dam construction, wildfires that destroy the forest canopy, large roads and infrastructure projects, clear cutting for charcoal production, and others.
But one of the main antagonists of this biodiversity loss is palm oil, the conversion of forest for permanent agriculture. The product itself isn't harmful, but the production is. Here is how the palm oil plantation looks like. Now, if we connect this to what we've read, over the past couple of years, the production of palm oil has widely increased starting from 2012 with 56.38 million metric tons up to the present day with 75.45 million metric tons. This is due to the high demand in products containing palm oil. The problem is farmland typically expands into existing forests, grasslands, and wetlands. This eliminates habitats that is vital to local wildlife while releasing additional carbon into the air. It also leaves soil more exposed to wind and water erosions that leads to even more disasters. So moving on, what is palm oil? Just a little definition on what palm oil really is. Palm oil is an edible vegetable oil that comes from the fruit of palm oil trees. It can also be seen in products such as soaps, shampoos, chocolates, oil, bread, and tons of other more products. We've been using these products in our daily lives without even noticing. Now that's taken care of, let us continue to our agreed action plans. In this list, we plan to introduce and promote the RSPO. Second, promoting the use of certified sustainable palm oil. Third, creating infographics to spread information and awareness. And lastly, is to promote living sustainably. First in the list is introduction and promotion of RSPO. We have our buddy Francis Gabriel to explain. Go ahead, Gab.
Thank you, Rayo, and good morning, everyone. Here's a quick introduction to the RSPO, or Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. The RSPO is a not-for-profit that unites stakeholders from the 7 sectors of the palm oil industry: oil palm, producers, processors or traders, consumers goods, manufacturers, retailers, banks, investors, and environmental and social non-governmental organizations. Is to develop and implement global standards for sustainable palm oil. The RSPO has developed a set of environmental and social criteria which companies must comply with in order to produce certified sustainable palm oil, CSPO. When they are properly applied, these criteria can help to minimize the negative impact of palm oil cultivation on the environment and communities in palm oil producing regions. That's all. Back to you, Rayo.
And again, RSPO is a community wherein people submit to rules that is helpful in sustaining our environment. And for our next action plan, we have Kazi, who's gonna explain the idea of promoting the RSPO trademark and organization through pops and posters.
Let me introduce a way to promote it. We promote it by using posters and pops. Here is a way. First, we put some posters and pops about the real of palm oil and the RSPO trademark. People who see it learn the mark and the reality. And some of them will buy RSPO certified products. Especially many people do not know the amount of palm oil that they used. We want them to know the reality and that mark. Then, what are pops? Pops are very popular way to advertise in Japan. The photo on the right side is an example from the internet. Pops usually put on products or buy products. These are pops we made and posters. Now we negotiate store person about putting it. Here is Leo to explain RSPO certified products to you.
Okay, I'm talking about RSPO products. For what I introduce first is Glamour White biscuits. They are made in England, but happily we can buy all over the world. They are environmentally friendly, also delicious. Glamour was has long histories since 1899. This taste may remind you nostalgia. Actually, LSPO instant noodle exists. It is cup noodle that is the most popular in Japan. It is sold by Nissin Foods having created instant noodle first. Of course, it's so tasty and we can find and buy easily. In other words, it's the instant way to pitch in with RSPO. Next.
Next action plan. Okay.
I'm sorry. There are much more other RSPO products in the world. The sample, Kali says mix, detergent, body soap. Next is Again.
Thank you, Rio. And for our next action plan that we have thought of is how trademarks from certified palm oil products work and how it helps distinguish to what it does to be counted certified. Marie?
Okay, so the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, known as RSPO, has a trademark that is globally recognized eco-label that signals the use of RSPO certified sustainable palm oil, but they have two different trademarks. What could that mean? Here are the difference of the mixed and certified trademarks of RSPO. Mix contributes to the production of sustainable palm oil, while the certified contains certified sustainable palm oil. Now that we know what the differences are, here's some products that contain certified palm oil.
And our next action plan that we have discussed is the creation of infographics. I'm sure that every one of you have already seen one of them, right? And so the reason why we chose to make infographics is because this allow you to condense a large amount of information in one page so that your audience can easily understand and digest what's behind the idea of that particular topic. Here are a few examples of infographics my team has made. And here are the pages we made in Facebook and Instagram. We're still at the small point. And also, one more thing is that infographics can be found anywhere. You can share it on social media platforms, group chats, community pages, and a lot more. The people must know why palm oil is endangering our environment. And for our last action plan, which is to live sustainably, to be presented by Mahir.
Okay, I'll talk about our action to promote sustainable lifestyle. We think the fundamental problem is our society of mass production and mass consumption. We think it's important to promote eco-friendly and sustainable lifestyle because we need to change our wasteful lifestyle. For example, we made a video to promote sustainable use of oil. Please watch it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much to team number 5.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sustainable living is a practical philosophy that aims to reduce personal and social environmental impact by making positive changes which counteract climate change and other negative environmental concerns. More simply, sustainable living is a method to reduce one's carbon footprint.
And that was our last action plan. And for our final message, we want to thank all of you so much for listening. I hope you'll learn something new about palm oil and how it is secretly endangering our environment. Let us all help each other out to keep our world sustainable for the future. Again, we are the Team 5 of this collaboration aiming to serve the 15th Sustainable Development Goal, Life on Land. Thank you all for listening, and we are now ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, team number 5, for your marvelous presentation. Can we give team number 5 a virtual clap, everyone, or a physical clap? Thank you. We're now open to a few questions. I think question number 1, there's a question here. In your research, what did you find out about people's perception regarding RSPO? Anyone from the group? In your research, what did you find out in terms of people's understanding or perception about RSPO? Rayu?
So while conducting our research and asking people if they knew something about RSPO, a lot of them didn't really know what it is, and some of them were saying that it's hoax, that there is no thing such as certified sustainable palm oil. And the only thing that I said is that sustainable palm oil is a big the RSPO organization is a big company worldwide that have many members from every parts of the world. So that if you think that RSPO is a hoax and doesn't really produce certified sustainable palm oil, then it's okay. That's all.
Thank you very much, Rayu, for answering the question. I guess we would ask one more from our guests or the participants. If you have a question to our to the last team, I think Urfa from Indonesia raised her hand. Urfa?
Yes, thank you. And once again, it's a wonderful presentation from the students. And I would like to underline that the changing land from forest into the palm oil, I think it's also changed the ecosystem itself. And some animals, also native plants there is missed, right? It's automatically that animal in the farmland will lose its habitat, and because they lose the source of the food. It's not only the big animal like the mammal, orangutan, or another species, but also insects. It's yeah, people usually rarely talk about this small animal, yeah, but they are really useful and helpful to our life. If there is no insect, there's no pollination, then we have no food resource. And what is the solution of this it's a kind of problem, I think, for me, because how you relocate the animals which exist on the forest that will be changed into the palm plantation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Urfa, for the input that you have given to team number 5. There's a question for the students in Meiwa. Anyone from Meiwa can answer. Um, can you can you actually convince your friends and classmates to live a sustainable life? Can you convince your friends or classmates to live a sustainable life? Anyone? Mahiro, Kazuha, or Ryosuke? Can you actually convince your friends or your classmates to live a sustainable life?
So team 5, do you think you can be able to make your friends believe in the importance of sustainable lifestyle?
Actually, many Japanese doesn't know what products include palm oil. So it's important to give information to them what product includes palm oil and how palm oil is harmful for nature. And we want to promote eco-friendly product like product with RSPO mark.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much, Mahiro. I guess, yes, it's difficult. No, I thank you for your honesty that, yeah, it's difficult to be able to do it. But yeah, based on what you are actually doing, I think it's a baby steps, no? For you to be able to encourage your classmates and friends to be able to live a, a sustainable life, to use sustainable products. Thank you very much, Mahiro, for the answers. So I
Yeah,
guess, yeah, Teacher Yoko?
Yeah, and they are planning to have Sustainable Day next month at school and to promote and to impart knowledge of the sustainable palm oil. Yeah.
All right, that's very good news, Teacher Yoko, that they would actually be able to promote it in school. So with that being well said by team number 5, can we give team number 5 a heart reaction? Thank you very much to team number 5.
So may I say something before you close the session?
Yeah, go ahead, Yurifa.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me a chance to speak once more. Because I think I and the teacher, we need now starting a project that's animal friend or butterfly and beer friends. So we promote sustainable living on land, which I concentrate on the insects and butterflies, and we need concentrate on the beer. So previously, I will show you something. It is to promote the kids and primary and also kindergarten students that we must love this kind of insects because I make it giant to highlight, but it's a very small actually. But yeah, by doing so, we train or spread the awareness that even though the insect is small animals, small thing, but they means a lot in our life. It's a bio indicator that our environment is health and free from dangerous chemical substances. So thank you so much for giving me a chance to speak.
Thank you very much, Urifa from Indonesia. Yeah, I guess even in St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, we see during the face-to-face little children playing with insects, the grasshoppers, the butterflies. You know, it's very essential for them to still be able to see those insects, as part of being able to understand, sustainability and the environment generally. So we should be able to ask them not to kill those grasshoppers, those
Yes.
dragonflies. Yeah, because rarely can you find those, especially in the city. Okay, because many of the schools today, you would only see buildings, but if your school would still have, um, spacious space like what we have in St. Patrick's School. We have trees, we have the fields, pretty much also the same with, I think, with Meiwa. I think that would be of great help in terms of educating our students of the importance of the environment. So I guess that's very well said. Thank you very much again to team number 5. We now go to the concluding part of our session. As much as we'd like to be able to extend, but I'd like to thank everyone because you have stayed for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Those are really, very good projects. And I was telling to this group that this will not be the end because we are currently organizing an international conference on sustainability by March. And those who have presented here will actually present your presentation in a bigger conference with other students coming March 19. So we can't wait to see you again to present this one in a bigger, conference to inspire other young people across the globe. And before we end, we'd like to be able to hear feedbacks or reflections coming from the 2 schools. We'll hear 2 students. First, we'll hear from Meiwa School. We'd like to call in teacher Yoko to present to us the feedbacks coming from our 2 students of our program.
Okay, so, Micah, could you talk about your experience?
Hi, this is Micah. Thank you for having me for this collaboration. And first of all, I think our project was very successful. And through this project, I could learn more about the earthquakes because of the SDG 11. And I could spread my knowledge and my views by visiting disaster mitigation research building. And this is the first time for me to do a presentation with the other people, with the students from St. Patrick's School. So I was very nervous at first, but every time I repeat this project collaboration, I could know that telling my opinion is the most important thing. So I want to say thank you to everyone who helped our project and who joined this project. And I'm really happy to get the opportunity to express my English and myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Micah. Very well said. And yeah, we also thank you for being able to express your appreciation of what we have done for the students. Teacher Yoko?
Okay. Yeah, so thank you, Micah. And I'm happy to hear you're very satisfied with joining this collaboration. Okay, so next speaker will be Nanami.
Hi, everyone. At first, thank you for everyone. I really enjoyed all of the groups' presentations because all groups gave me a lot of knowledge that I didn't know ever. So I really enjoyed today's presentations. And also at first, SDGs goals seems very difficult for me, but through this project, I learned there are a lot of things what we can do to improve the situations of global environmental program or other global programs. So I realized that it is important for students to inform as many people as possible the current situation of global programs. So today's program and also these programs became the first steps for me to achieve the global SDGs goals. And also, I really appreciate my members from Japan and Philippines. They always supported me and also accepted my opinions and also discussed a lot of time. So all of the times became unforgettable time for me. And also it just my personal feelings. Today I'm very happy to see a lot of teacher who is familiar to me. So, and after giving an advice from the guests, I learned a lot of knowledge. I realized that it is important for me to consider from another perspective. So I really enjoyed today's sessions. So I really appreciate you all. Thank you for holding this wonderful project. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Nana, for those really appreciate those words of kindness that you have learned a lot from the program itself. And now we'll now proceed with St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. Would like to call Carl Mangahas to give a feedback and reflection of the activity that was conducted. Carl?
Hello everyone, I'm Carl Mangahas from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. So my experience in the past 5 collaboration meetings, actually 6, including now, was of course a really good one. Like the others, of course, there was a lot of nervousness and anxiety that was around me. So you get it. But once you get to be around each other more often, that feeling became non-existent. For me, to be able to work with other international students from Japan is a huge honor and also a great opportunity for me just to be able to experience that. The feeling of excitement for me was existed from the beginning up until now, as I'm thrilled to see what we could work on with from scratch, and just to see us go from just the introductions, what is your name, what does your country like, and whatsoever, to the point where we are actually formulating plans and now presenting it in the big stage is a joy to say the least. Um, Not a lot of students, I think, gets to experience this. So I'd like to thank our school, St. Patrick's School of Quezon City in Philippines, and also the Meiwa Super Science High School for setting up this international collaboration. I also want to thank the guests for giving their comments to our group, because they really showed us that there are a lot more things that we could still do aside from the plans that we thought of, and also rooms for improvement for us to consider in the next presentation. So it is definitely a one of a kind experience, one that I cherish and remember forever. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Carl. We really feel, we feel you that you really also appreciate it. Would like to call the next student, Danny or Daniel Udan.
Yes, so good afternoon or good morning to everyone. I first want to thank St. Patrick's School of Quezon City and of course Meiwa for having this collaboration happen and making it possible. And I want to thank also our guests for having the concern and being into our projects and saying asking some questions that we really need to keep in mind as well. Being part of this collaboration shows that race and nationality is not a gap for us to make and be part of change for the benefit of all. Countries are around the world are experiencing an intensive problems that are undeniably put us on our knees and to for work more and do an action. And for me, as a student, I learned how to embody more of what we called youth as the future, because I'm answering and making this call possible to action to end first the end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure by 2030 all people enjoy peace, prosperity as what all SDG all about. And I hope that this collaboration will continue on to spread awareness for everyone and for us all to be part of the change and the difference for the benefit of both humankind and the nature. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Danny, for the feedback that you have given. Those are kind words that we really appreciate. And I guess this so-called collaborative experience, it allows really a dynamic and it's an inexpensive curricular innovation to be able to engage our students online and be able to create really very good projects. And it benefits all of them in terms of increasing their intercultural awareness and enhance even their communication skills for working the project. They have developed their digital literary skills and learn about the discipline from another perspective. At the same time, they were engaged in global problem solving that could eventually help, the pressing problems or issues of the world, the world that, the many problems that we are facing. And so, with that being said, I'd like to call to give the closing remarks. I'd like to call in our first. I'd like to call Teacher Yoko Fujisawa from Meiwa Super Science School in Nagoya, Japan, to give her closing remarks. Teacher Yoko.
Okay, so I'd like to give a closing remarks while I'm afraid. So it was really great to have such a great audience today. Thank you for joining us despite your busy schedule. So, and you attentively listened to our students and asked insightful questions and gave them very encouraging comment. Our students are very happy to have presentation in front of you. The students of St. Patrick's School and Meiwa High School, so you did a great job. I appreciate your effort to make your SDG project successful. Okay? There are differences in land, in place, time, and language between you. However, you cooperated, discussed global issues, and even took some action. This is what we really need in today's world. People with different backgrounds to work together on global problems. Your projects are really, really meaningful. I'm very, very proud of you. And I would like to express my gratitude to the teachers of St. Patrick's School. Okay, and especially so the teacher John Gary and the teacher Jang Aldin and teacher LJ Dian and Camille, teacher Camille and teacher Lenzok Jalmasco and teacher Josephine Manalada. Your facilitation was great. Without you, our students would not have had such a productive discussion. And the school president and the school principal of St. Patrick, thank you for allowing us to have this great collaboration. And Dr. Dali, you are a great leader. I really enjoyed working with you. And I'm sincerely grateful to you for your contribution to this project. And the teacher of Meiwa High School, thank you all for your support. And teacher Chizuko Sengoku, you are always kind and assist the student and me. I'm happy to work with you on this project and program. And teacher Tetsuya Yamada, you gave the student and me valuable advice. Your science knowledge and experiences in international exchange have guided our program to success. And last but not least, Mr. Matsubara, Mr. Hidaka, Ms. Honbe, and the other teachers of the Meiwa Research and Development Division, I'm really thankful for your helping hand. One of the aims of this program is to cultivate global citizenship in our students. And I have now realized our program have brought a global mindset to the students and the teachers. This is my hope. The students and the teachers of St. Patrick and my Meiwa High School will keep working together as a global citizen. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。And maraming salamat po.
Wow, thank you very much, Teacher Yoko, for the closing remarks. Yeah, this is only the beginning of a long-term partnership between our two schools, and who knows, we might be able to ask other partner schools. Hi to Winnie, Soon we will partner with also with Winnie's institution and the other schools. This is only the beginning of really something beautiful for all of us. Thank you very much, Teacher Yoko. We now proceed with our closing remarks. Now, I'd like to hear our school principal, Mrs. Janet F. Kadapan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dari Dakanay. Good afternoon. It's already afternoon. Konnichiwa. Congratulations to all the team for the wonderful presentations. Before we close the Meaningful Learning International Collaborative Experience, on behalf of St. Patrick School of Quezon City, Philippines, administrators, faculty, and staff, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our special guests, educators from different countries who showed their support with us. Special thank you to our ever supportive school president, Mrs. Sari E. Cruz. My special thank you and congratulations to Dr. Dari Dakanay, our Director for Academics, for making this international collaboration a success. And to Shizuko Sengoku Sensei and to Yoko Fujisawa Sensei for their full support of this meaningful learning opportunity for all our students, both from St. Patrick School and Meiwa School in Japan. And my special thank you to our students of St. Patrick School and to Meiwa Chukugaku Gakusei. This is a great sign that each of you, dear students, Gakusei, have shown how you have successfully took challenges and you really made it. Congratulations again. Saiko Omedatu gozaimasu. Thank you for your hard work. Otsukare sama deshita. Again, thank you everyone and looking forward to another meaningful and interesting international collaboration like this. Again, thank you all. Keep safe, stay healthy, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Principal Janet F. Kadapan of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines. Let me just share my slide as we end our program. We would like to give this certificate of recognition proudly presented to Meiwa High School, Japan. This certificate is awarded to the school for its dedication and excellence in providing innovative and creative programs such as a collaborative online international learning program. This serves as a proof of the school's commitment with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals initiatives through collaboration between St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, and your school, Meiwa High School in Japan. This certificate was awarded on the 12th day of February 2022, signed the principal of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Mrs. Janet F. Kadapan, and the Director for Academics of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Dr. Dari E. Dakanay. So thank you very much, Meiwa High School. And we will be giving the certificate as well to the teachers and to the students. We will email it to Teacher Yoko in terms of recognizing the students and the teachers. So in behalf of, again, of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, and Meiwa Science High School in Nagoya, Japan, thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this wonderful collaboration. I know that, I feel a little bit sad because we are ending it. No? I'd really still like to be able to see all of you, but don't worry, this will not be the end. There will be another collaboration that will be planned by both schools, and new schools also will be joining us. Hi, Teacher Winnie, and the other schools here. And my heartfelt thank you to everyone. Arigato gozaimasu. And to to everyone who participated here, especially our dear students. Thank you once again. God bless everyone. And let's go for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we will be able to make a difference in this world. Thank you very much, everyone. Konnichiwa. Sayonara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much.
Sir, can we
Thank
have
you.
group picture?
Ah,
Sayonara.
yeah.
Can
Okay.
we have
Bye-bye.
group picture, sir?
Group picture together. I'm sorry, I forgot. I almost forgot. We have slide number one. Slide number one. Okay, please switch on your camera. Slide number one. We'll have slide number one. Okay, slide number one. Okay. We have the next page. Okay, smile. Okay, smile. Okay, we'll have the last page. Okay, the last page. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you to all
much.
again.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, teacher
So,
See you.
thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Japan.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
the
everyone.
Philippines, and thank you,
Bye-bye.
teachers from around the world, and thank you, students of the Philippines and Japan. I'm really happy to have been working with you together for last 4 months.
Thank you, Patricians. Good work.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Derek. Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, thank you
And
so much.
congratulations.
Huge congratulations to the great success. Thank you for inviting me to be here. And I want to pay my respect to all the educator and the students. I can see that there are many future entrepreneurship and great leader in the world to be. I see that they are in great educators' hands. Thank you so much for inviting me here to learn from you.
Thank you, Ma'am
Thank you,
Winnie.
Winnie.
Yeah, really
You're-
appreciate it. It's amazing, overwhelming. Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mexico.
You're
Thank you,
very-
Indonesia.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bye.
Congratulations, facilitators.
Yeah, you are doing amazing job. You make it happen. Congratulations to all the during the session, I just take many notes. I learn from you because like a student say that
Yes, true.
SDG sometimes is hard, but I got so many like an example model from your facilitation. Thank you so much.
Dr. Dali, thank you for everything. Thank you for
Thank you also.
controlling the presentation.
Thank you too. We wish to see each other soon.
Yes.
Mabuhay lahat.
Welcome to
Jo was about to
Philippines.
cry. Jo, you were about to
They're all
cry.
invited
No,
here.
don't cry. We can meet soon. We will meet next month.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Good work, presenters. Thank you.
And
All right, thank you, everyone. Please eat your lunch now.
Yeah.
Air lang.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Everyone.
You have
God
an air
bless.
condition on.
Oh,
Thank you.
and we